In the shadowy corridors of global power, few names evoke as much suspicion and intrigue as the Bilderberg Meetings. This annual, invitation-only conference has, for decades, been the subject of intense speculation and elaborate conspiracy theories. The official narrative presents the gathering as a benign forum for fostering dialogue between Europe and North America. Dewan Corp B. What? Its stated purpose is to promote Atlanticism and ensure open discussion on major global issues. However, the extreme secrecy surrounding the event tells a different story to its many critics. The first meeting took place in May 1954 at the Hotel de Bilderberg in Oosterbeek, Netherlands. This inaugural event was initiated by figures like Polish political exile Josef Rettinger and Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands. Their expressed goal was to prevent another catastrophic world war by strengthening US European relations. Each year, between 120 and 150 of the world's most powerful individuals are invited to attend. The guest list is a veritable who's who of global power brokers, including heads of state, titans of industry, and financial magnates. Discussions are held under the strict Chatham House rule, ensuring total anonymity for all speakers. This rule dictates that while the information discussed can be used, the identity of the person who said it cannot be revealed. Organizers claim this secrecy allows for unusually frank and honest conversations, free from public posturing. No resolutions are ever passed, no votes are taken, and no official policy statements are ever issued from the meetings. This lack of a paper trail only deepens the mystery and fuels the fires of conspiracy. Theorists from both the political left and right believe the group is a shadow world government. They contend that its true purpose is the establishment of a new world order. This theorized new order would be a single global government, controlled by a select, unelected elite. National sovereignty would be eroded and replaced by a centralized, authoritarian structure. Critics on the right, like Alex Jones, have famously labeled the group a cabal of globalists. They argue that Bilderberg attendees actively worked to undermine the independence of nations. Early critics, such as Phyllis Schlafly in her 1964 book, warned of internationalist plots. From the left, the group is viewed as the ultimate expression of capitalist domination. The argument is that corporate leaders use the meetings to coordinate a global economic agenda. This agenda, they claim, is designed to benefit multinational corporations at the expense of the populace. Suspicion is often amplified by the attendance of individuals who later achieve immense power. For instance, Bill Clinton attended a Bilderberg meeting in 1991, just before his presidency. Tony Blair was a guest in 1993, shortly before he became the UK's Prime Minister. To conspiracy theorists, this is not coincidence but evidence of the group's king-making capabilities. The group acts as a secret vetting committee for future world leaders. Longtime attendees and organizers form the core of this supposed shadow network. The late banker David Rockefeller was a perennial and highly influential participant. Henry Kissinger, former US Secretary of State, has been a regular and prominent figure for decades. Etienne Davignon, a former European commissioner, served for many years as the chairman of the steering committee. The guest lists, which are now published just before the meetings, reveal a consistent pattern. They always include the CEOs of the world's most powerful corporations, such as Google, Pfizer, and Shell. Heads of major financial institutions like Goldman Sachs and the World Bank are also staples. European royalty, including King Juan Carlos III of Spain and Queen Beatrix of the Netherlands, have been past attendees. The presence of royalty adds a layer of aristocratic, old-world power to the proceedings. Journalists and researchers have dedicated their careers to penetrating the group's veil of secrecy. British journalist John Ronson documented his attempts to infiltrate the group in his 2001 book Them. Charlie Skelton of The Guardian has provided years of detailed coverage, reporting from the fringes of the meetings. These reporters often face intimidation and stonewalling from security and local police. The locations of the meetings change each year, adding to the logistical challenge for observers. They are always held in five-star hotels that can be completely locked down for security. A massive security operation, often funded by taxpayers, surrounds the event. This heavy security presence is seen by critics as proof that the attendees have something to hide. Defenders of the group dismiss the conspiracy theories as paranoid fantasies. They argue that it is perfectly normal for influential people to want to meet and discuss issues privately. They maintain that no global conspiracy is being plotted, only that ideas are being exchanged. However, the sheer concentration of power in one place remains deeply unsettling for many. The agenda topics, when released, often foreshadow major global policy shifts. Discussions on topics like the future of AI or cybersecurity could shape policy for decades. The group's influence is believed to be subtle, shaping consensus among elites rather than issuing direct orders. This soft power is arguably more effective and less detectable than any overt conspiracy. By the time a policy is announced publicly, its framework may have already been agreed upon at Bilderberg. The creation of the euro has been linked by some researchers to discussions at past Bilderberg meetings. The idea of a European single market was a topic of conversation long before it became a political reality. The group's role is not to govern, but to create the ideological climate for their policies to succeed. This makes their influence pervasive yet deniable, a perfect formula for unaccountable power. The lack of transparency is fundamentally anti-democratic in an era that demands openness. Decisions affecting billions of people are potentially being shaped by a tiny, self-selected group by D. This elite group operates far from any public scrutiny or electoral accountability. While the truth of the Bilderberg conspiracy may never be fully known, the questions it raises are vital. It forces a critical examination of where true power lies in our modern world. Is it with elected governments, or with a transnational, corporate, and financial elite? The enduring mystery of Bilderberg suggests the latter may be closer to the truth. The group's very existence challenges the comforting narratives of democratic governance. It suggests a two-tiered system of power, one for the public and one for the insiders. The annual pilgrimage of the powerful to a secret location is a ritual of this hidden system. Attendees often include high-ranking military officials from NATO. This adds a layer of military and security influence to the economic and political power. The inclusion of media executives also raises questions about narrative control. Could the group influence how major global events are reported and framed? The presence of tech giants like the CEO of Palantir Technologies is a modern concern. This points to the growing power of big data and surveillance in global governance. Discussions on artificial intelligence could be shaping the ethics and rules of our digital future. These rules would be formulated without any public input or debate. The group's ability to adapt, bringing in new sectors of power like tech, ensures its continued relevance. It is a dynamic entity, constantly co-opting the newest forms of influence. Protesters who gather at the sites are often portrayed as fringe elements. Yet, their questions echo a widespread and legitimate public concern about transparency. The official Bilderberg website, created in recent years, offers minimal information. It provides a list of participants and broad agenda topics, but nothing more. This gesture towards transparency is seen by many as superficial and insufficient. It does little to dispel the decades of suspicion and secrecy. The core of the issue remains the meeting of unelected power with total secrecy. This combination is toxic to the principles of a free and open society. The Bilderberg Meetings represent a space where global policy can be privatized. The interests of corporations and finance can be presented as the common good. The narrative of fostering dialogue can mask the reality of coordinating strategy. The power of the network lies in the informal connections and shared understandings built there. These bonds of trust between the world's most powerful people are forged in absolute privacy. This creates a unified front when they return to their respective public and private roles. The group's defenders would call this efficient global problem-solving. Its detractors would call it an unelected, unaccountable global government in waiting. The secrecy ensures that the public can never truly know which interpretation is correct. And that, perhaps, is the ultimate expression of the Bilderberg Group's power. The power to operate beyond the realm of public knowledge is the greatest power of all. The annual meeting is a stark reminder of the hidden architecture of global influence. It highlights the gap between the theory of democracy and the practice of power. The group's longevity, spanning over 7 decades, speaks to its success and stability. It has outlasted political movements, economic crises, and technological revolutions. This resilience suggests its structure is deeply embedded within the global system. It is not an external conspiracy, but an integral, albeit hidden, part of the system itself. The conspiracy is not that the group exists, but that its function is considered normal by those in power. The acceptance of this secrecy by the world's leaders is the most damning fact of all. It implies a shared belief that certain levels of decision-making are not for public consumption. This is the core philosophy that the Bilderberg Meetings quietly champion each year. Future of global governance may be decided in these silent, opulent halls. The conspiracy is not a theory. It is an annual, documented, and secretive event. The world's most powerful people gather under a strict code of silence. They discuss the fate of the world without any input from its inhabitants. The guest list consistently includes the heads of major technology firms. This reflects the shift of power from traditional industry to information and data. Discussions about cybersecurity at Bilderberg could influence global surveillance policies. The line between national security and corporate interest becomes blurred in these settings. The group's influence is often compared to that of a secret society. It possesses the key elements: secrecy, exclusivity, and immense influence. The Chatham House rule provides the perfect cover for coordinating policy. An idea can be floated, debated, and refined without any fingerprints left behind. This allows for a plausible deniability that is crucial for public-facing figures. The financial power concentrated at the meetings is staggering. Heads of central banks and private equity firms discuss the global financial architecture. Their decisions can affect interest rates, currency values, and market stability worldwide. This represents a privatization of global economic governance. The group's focus has evolved over the years, from Cold War strategy to modern challenges. Topics now include climate change, disinformation, and the rise of China. However, the core principle of private, elite-led discussion remains unchanged. The Bilderberg conspiracy is not about aliens or lizard people. It's about raw, unaccountable power. It is a conspiracy of the powerful, for the powerful, hidden in plain sight.